The biggest problem with the courts is that basically I was hoodwinked and conned, and the ones who ended up hoodwinking me and conning me are trained and educated in banking and do not have first-hand knowledge of basically the amount and the severity of abuse and the shit that has been done to me. I will never be able to look at any of them calling themselves judges in the same way. Same thing with the ones called lawyers, as well as the ones calling themselves real estate agents, etc. And that's just it. Basically, when I am being forced to play games like how to fill out papers correctly, being forced to do something that I don't want to do, and when the ones that are doing it are I mean, I think that's the reason why the scales on the judicial balance are skewed. But not only that, there's something called fatherhood funding. There's no motherhood funding. And this is where it ties into the medical doctors by having somebody employed or volunteering at a hospital telling me and telling people that they have to or they need to fill out a birth certificate. And a birth certificate is written on bond paper, so it deals with the bankster gangsters. I don't want to talk to any of them. I mean, it's just like there's a small group that is just sitting there and fucking people over and fucking people out of. And that's the reason why when I ended up going to school, that one of them whose daddy had a insurance company laughed when another one looked at me and called me a PBN. I said, PBN, what's that? And that's when that one laughed. And her father was a bank president whose father was a judge. I mean, there's supposed to be no hazing laws, and I mean, schools have a no hazing policy and no bullying policies. So what do when the worst bullies are the ones calling themselves school principals and school superintendents? And that's just it. None of them have licenses from an independent state licensing agency to be calling themselves what they're calling themselves. And not only that, so in order for me to go try to, okay, I'm told that I have to end up taking such and such classes, and basically I'm not allowed any input as far as what classes that I want to take. Okay, that's called control. And control deals with force, and then not only that. Oh, I had to go and talk to or speak to a school counselor. Well, that violates my right to contract with who I want to contract with, but it's even shadier than that. So basically what they do is that they have something in eugenics dealing with anybody that is going to go talk to a mental health professional. So counselor, think about it. And what is it the lawyers say, that they'll give somebody that they call themselves counselors? I mean, it's just like, fuck no, I don't want somebody like that counseling me. All they do is just sit there and fucking lie to people. And what it is it goes back to who lied to me. What was somebody calling himself a preacher telling me that I had to get a marriage license, knowing damn good and well that I've not been given any classes on contracting. So it basically started with a son of a bitch called a preacher. He didn't even go by his real first name. How did I find that out? Oh, but because I read what was written in the fucking obituary. Just like his wife. Oh, well, she was a medical doctor's child. Man, it's just like nothing like getting fucked over by the American Medical Association, the American medical asses. That's exactly what it is, getting fucked over and fucked out of. How difficult would it be for a medical doctor to have another medical doctor do what's called deliver their child, and them to know about the birth certificate bond and never fill one out? I just look at the pile of shit. I think it deals with a private meeting that Mendel House had. Mendel House. Every American will unknowingly register their biological property. What a crock of shit. So that's the reason why they were quiet. I said, do you have any idea what I feel like? Oh shit. Basically, realizing that basically I've been fucked over and fucked out of by the ones that are trained and educated in banking or some other thing where they basically had I mean, that's the reason why they laugh about being frenemies. Basically smile me in my face and stab me in my back. Every single one of the goddamn motherfuckers, excusing my French. But see, there's supposed to be a separation of powers clause, and they're violating separation of powers clause, and that's just it. There's nothing that tells me that I have to pick a religion, and there's nothing that says that I have to pick a religious denomination. That's the reason why they cram religion and religious and church denominations onto people. That's the reason why they play music inside government buildings, so they can call themselves churches. And that's the reason why they say that the area is patrolled by basically the cops, because of the slave patrols. I look at the shit that the cops do, and I don't want anything to do with them. All they do is sit there and provoke and agitate in order to make ticket quota. They're land pirates.